I'm finally finishing up the denim cape that I started making as part of my batch cutting plans earlier this year, Vogue V2054. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kyla, and if you're one of my returning subscribers, thanks so much for stopping by, and I'm sure you remember this garment from my batch cutting plans that I started earlier this year. Well, I'm happy to say that I finished up all the garments that I intended to when I set out to make that video. So this is the last one. This garment is for my mom. And I'm not sure if I'm going to give this to her for the holidays or if I give it to her for her birthday. Her birthday is December 28th, so she kind of gets gypped around Christmas a little bit. So I don't know, we'll see. But regardless, I'll have it done and have it ready to go. So that's what we're doing in today's video. I'm finishing up the garment. I finally got the right type of buttons that I decided to go for, and you'll see that as we go along in my process. All right. Let's get to it. All right, well, that's enough pieces to interface. This pattern has probably got the most pieces that I have to apply interfacing to. And then I've got the collar over here as well. So yeah, I'm going to be pressing these for a minute. So I've got my front piece and side front piece stitched together, stopping at the point of where I'll put the facing. And I started on the flaps that go on both sides of the front. Here's one completely stitched, turned inside out, trimmed, pressed. I need to make my top stitching because I want to use a contrasting thread. And then I'll repeat the same process for this one. And then go about adding my buttonhole on in the beginning. That'll be much easier to do it now while they're separate than trying to do it when I attach them. And this is my placement line of where the flap will lay on the front once I've got it finished up. Okay, now that I've got my pocket flap done, I need to attach it to my marking here, right on the top portion of the breast area. And it looks like I'm going to have to stitch through 1, 2, 3 layers of fabric and 2 layers of stabilizer. But being that I'm using my heavy duty machine, I should be able to go through all of these layers with no problem. So I'll stitch it once here, turn it again, and then top stitch it to match the coordinating stitch all the way around. The side facings are prepped. I've got them stitched down both sides of where the openings will be, matching them at their dots. And now I can stitch the bottom. Stopping at the point of the facing. point, I'm at the point of putting the carriers on each shoulder, and I need to cut them in half, which will bring each section to about 3 3/4 of an inch. I'll fold under each side and then top stitch through the layers. Okay, I just want to point out something that if I had read the pattern first, I probably would have caught this and tried to finish it off before I attached it. But when you add the epaulette, you stitch it in place, and then you trim closely to that stitching line, which now leaves this edge raw again. I had finished it off, but essentially I had to cut it off to trim it so that it lays flat. The next time I make this, I'll just draw in place where my stitching line will be, finish it off really closely, and just stitch as close as possible, like 1/4 of an inch here, just so that I don't have to go back and finish this. But I am going to zigzag stitch this down because if she throws this in the washer, that will start to ravel. Okay, so I've got both carriers attached, and the pattern called for stitching through all layers, keeping the tab free. I had 9 layers of a fairly mid-weight denim to go through, and it just wasn't going through all the way and giving me the straight stitch that I wanted. So I decided to attach it from the inside with a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. So that's another option if you're working with a fabric that's heavier, but probably if I stayed with wool or maybe a brocade or a jacquard, then I would have been able to go through all layers with no problem. But this is like 9 layers of denim, and my machine started to struggle. But I came up with a solution, and it looks good. And it's also stationary, so it's not as if she's going to be opening and closing these as well. Once I get the button attached, they'll be in place. This is the uninterfaced side of the collar and the collar stand that I have stitched together. I have my markings in place to line up the collar to the facing, and these are my notched triangular markings that I clipped just so that there's ease around the curve, because I'll need to go back and top stitch this. And then I'll repeat that same process for the interfaced side of the collar. calls for hand stitching the hem, but since I'm using a denim fabric, I'm going to top stitch it. And I'm going to use the same contrasting color that I've used for all the seams on the outside. I saved putting the snaps on at the end because I hadn't ordered them yet and wasn't sure exactly what I was going to put on the cape. But now that I got them, I really like them. These are just, let's see there, if we can focus here. And it is not. There we go. Okay, these are antique copper. They're about 5/8 of an inch. 12 came in a package from Vogue, and they were a really good price. So I got them somewhere around $4.89 for a whole packet. But of course, I'm only going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. But if my mom does want more closures put on the front as it buttons down, I can add that later. But right now I'm just going to put the one at the top here. I'm glad I took my time in trying to decide what style buttons to go with, because since I went with a denim fabric, I thought more of a jean jacket look would be more appropriate just to keep it casual. And my mom is not somebody who's getting dressed up and going shopping on the town all the time. She'll throw this on probably to go to the grocery store, to be honest. And even though it's getting cold outside now and she won't be able to really wear it as we're getting to the colder months, it's ready to go for the spring. And I'm sure it's going to look cute however she styles it up. So since she's not an online person, I thought I would model it for you guys just to give you an idea of what it looks like on someone. So I will see you all in the next video. Thanks so much for stopping by and take care. Bye everyone.